Hey, welcome back to the Rocks and Roots Runner channel where we talk about how we make leather patches. I realized that our previous video was a little over 20 minutes long, made it very difficult to watch. So this time I'm going to break them up in segments, kind of tell you a little bit of overview of what we're doing here and how we're making leather patches. And then I will have a series of other videos where we break up how do we use our black pro dye as well as our antique gel in creating some very unique patches. So first things first, what we're doing here is we utilize 3D printed parts. In this case, this is a PLA material off of a 3D printer. This is an American flag stamp. This is also available at rocksandrootsrunner.com if you want to purchase it and make your own American flags. And then we take this and what we do is we case the leather. Talk a little bit about that here in a second. And then we utilize a simple bench vise and we clamp it closed. I usually leave it in there for about 20-30 minutes. We take it out, let it dry completely, and then we dye it to whatever color you want. You can dye it black, you can do brown antique gel, which we'll show. I've also utilized things like acrylic paints. I've done a light blue with some brushing of a cream color over the top and made it really nice. But basically, all we're doing is we're utilizing this. I actually can make these. I can print these, and those are available for custom stamps on rocksandrootsrunner.com. First thing we'll do though is we'll just take this piece of leather, and if you purchase this American flag stamp on rocksandrootsrunner.com, it comes with 3 of these in order to make your own patches. So it's kind of a good way to get, if you want to start an Etsy shop, you can go in there and create your own Etsy shop, or if you just want to make some patches for your friends. It's just a lot of fun to do, and you can be creative, or you can start your own little side hustle if you want. So first thing, if you do order this, you will get this type of it's a 4 to 5 ounce veg tan leather. You'll get 3 of these in the mail. You can also purchase these at places like Hobby Lobby or Michael's. They come in at about an 8.5, 11 sheet. I use 4.5 to 5 ounce, or excuse me, 4 to 5 ounce veg tan leather. It seems to emboss very well. Well, basically all you do is you just drop it in the water, and then it's gonna bubble up a little bit. And you'll see it start to get wet and it'll start bubbling from the outside. I usually leave it in there for about 15 seconds or so, and then we'll take it out. And then I've got a simple, this is very, very simple, and you can buy these anywhere. You probably have one sitting around. This is just a little bench vise. And what we can do with this, once we get the leather out of the water, I've got these little blocks here. And what we'll do is just little hardwood blocks, and let it drip dry here a little bit, and I just place it on there. Very simple. It's about the size of that piece of leather, about 2.5 inches wide. I take my stamp, lay it on there flat. It's pretty easy. Make sure it's centered up on there. Take the other block, and all this is doing is once you put it in the vise, it basically distributes the load properly. And for this particular case, all we got to do is just hand tighten pretty much as tight as you can possibly get it with your particular strength. Done, and I usually sit it, like I said, about 20-30 minutes, and it'll sit there. Now, another way you can do it is it's not truly casing the leather, what I just did. But if you want to case the leather, that's basically getting it nice and soaking wet, and then you can let it sit out for quite a while. And what that does is it holds the embossing a little bit more when you do use your stamp. So it's not like as it's drying, it's kind of soaking up the water again, and then some of that detail might kind of blend away. But there's a certain area of humidity that you would really like to emboss them if you want to get a really, really good print. Especially if you're using like metal stamps, where your hammer or stuff like that, that might be a little bit easier, but this is just a clamping method, so it's not too bad. In fact, you can sit there and let it sit overnight in this clamp, and it'll almost dry completely and have a really nice shape to it. But usually when you want to case the leather, it can dry out probably several hours until it gets the right humidity level. You don't want it to be completely dry, obviously, but once it starts coming back to its natural shape, shade, that would probably be the best time to stamp it. If you want to make a bunch of these, you get them wet, put them in a bag. They'll sit there in a Ziploc bag for a while at the right humidity level, and then whatever you want to use it, you just pull it out and you can stamp it. So that what you do is after you let this sit in there about 15-20 minutes, you can pop it out, and then you let it dry, and I usually let it dry overnight, and this is the way it comes out. It's pretty nice. It's completely dry, and it's ready for any type of dyeing you want to do, or any acrylic painting or anything like that, and we're going to get to that in the next video. So Again, that stamp is available at Roxit Roots Runner if you'd like to purchase one, or you can do custom stamps, and I'll be happy to design one and make one for you and print it out. Thanks a bunch, and we'll see you on the next episode.